March 31st, 2013. This is a map of the Canadian and U.S. oil pipelines. You can see the green one is called the Exxon Mobil Enbridge Pegasus, or commonly called the Pegasus. Now, Exxon has destroyed in Valdez, worldwide, just continues their destruction and their lies. But the green arrow is the Pegasus pipeline, and we've got a bad leak here in what's called Mayflower, Arkansas. They, when they were putting these pipelines, they're hauling this crude oil a lot of it comes from fracking, destroying most of the United States and most of the world. Basically, they're destroying the water supplies. They're causing quakes. Now they've proven that the one in Oklahoma, the 5.2 a few years ago was caused by this fracking. But because it's they're fracking this stuff out of the ground, this crude oil, it's thick, and so they have to add thinners, like paint thinner, so that it will flow through the pipelines. And the critics came in and they tried to stop this because they were saying that the thinner alone would corrode these pipes, and it has. You see in the green line where they're doing the proposed Keystone, it's going to destroy all these states through here, guys, right through Oklahoma, right back to the same place in Port Arthur. We've got Native American Indians fighting this as illegally, and other pipelines cross their territory. They're doing protest, trying to save what's left. Now, we've been watching the West Coast get bombarded by the Fukushima radiation. It's massive die-offs here. Of course, we're watching here in Louisiana the sinkhole, the salt dome collapse, getting worse every day, and there's oil leaking all over the Gulf. Comes right up around the Gulf Stream, it's killing off all the wildlife there. Bonnie Shoemaker from onwingsofcare.org sends us the pictures, and one of the comments in one of the last sets is the lack of wildlife. And she's talked about in one of her books. Well, I'm going to do that in another video. About it shows many pictures of how that wildlife was before that oil spill. Guys, and I know firsthand, I camped on Cat Island every weekend for 3 years. Loved it. Primitive camping. No other person on the island the entire time did I see. Thousands of birds, thousands of rays. Every morning wake up with the porpoises in the sunrise as we camped on the sand there. Every type of wildlife that you can imagine, and now the reports are that it's just not the same anymore. But guys, here in Mayflower, I want to change this image. Hold on. Now you see what we got. We've got Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, Missouri here, Tennessee, Alabama. But this is Mayflower right here. I've got a little flame there, and that Pegasus pipeline goes right through there. As a matter of fact, they built a subdivision on top of the pipeline. You have greed and added stupidity. It equals disaster. Now, zooming this in, this is Mayflower. You can see it's surrounded by lakes. There's a river that runs through here, runs down through Little Rock and into the Mississippi River below Greenwood. But right in the edge of town, they built a new subdivision right there, and I'm going to pull that up. Now, you look at this cul-de-sac. I'm going to point out a couple things here. This is the pipeline. You can see it run through the map all the way across the state, right there. This is see this cul-de-sac. Remember that tree, so we can match this up. But these houses, their driveways, and this house is right on the edge of the pipeline. 22-inch, thousands of gallons going through this thing. Now, this is the tree I told you to remember between these two houses in this cul-de-sac. This is crude oil and the other ingredients there that allow it to flow smoothly. Now, these are some of these images are small. Folks are there taking them today and over the weekend, guys. But you can see as it runs through this neighborhood, this land will never be the same. Now, some of the reports are ExxonMobil was working to clean up thousands of barrels of oil in Mayflower after a pipeline carrying heavy Canadian crude ruptured. A major spill likely to stoke debate over transporting Canada's oil to the United States. Exxon shut the Pegasus pipeline, which can carry more than 90,000 barrels, not gallons, per day of crude oil from Patoka, Illinois, to Nederland, Texas, after the leak was discovered on Friday afternoon. It says Exxon was hit with a $1.7 million fine by regulators this week over a 2011 spill in the Yellowstone River. A company spokesman confirmed the line was carrying Canadian Wabasca heavy crude. The crude is a heavy bitumen crude diluted with lighter liquids to allow it to flow through the pipelines. It says this is from the Wabasca oil sands. The spill occurred as U.S. State Department is considering the fate of the 800,000 barrel per day Keystone XL pipeline, which would carry crude from Canada's oil sands, where they're fracking, to the Gulf Coast. Environmentalists concerned about the impact of developing the oil sands have sought to block the approval. Guys, it's passed, I think, either in in the Senate, and it's going to go up for a full vote. But this is what's going to happen to more and more places if the Keystone pipeline is allowed to be built. They're destroying the earth. They've got all the coast are attacked now inland in several locations. So supporters say Keystone will help bring the cost of fuel down in the United States. They haven't proven it. They've been told to prove that. But by the time they got it built and they clean up these spills and run people out of their neighborhoods and take over their land, that's what they want. There is a major depopulation effort worldwide through GMO seeds, through these oil spills, through war. The evil's there. I hope your eyes are open. It says the Arkansas spill was the second incident this week where Canadian crude is spilled in the United States. On Wednesday, a train carrying Canadian crude derailed in Minnesota, spilling 15,000 gallons. It's snow up there, guys. They've only, out of that 15,000, out of that snow, they've only gotten about 2,000 gallons back. It says Exxon expanded the Pegasus pipeline in 2009 to carry more Canadian crude from the Midwest to the Gulf Coast refining hub and install what is called a new leak detection technology. It worked good, didn't it? Now, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has categorized the rupture as a major spill. Exxon said 22 homes were evacuated following the incident. Now, the EPA, we know they're paid off by Exxon and BP, folks like that. So if they come out and say it, then it is. But what's happening is instead of waiting months like in Corn Bayou, this is right in the face. It's not in the bayou. It's running down the streets of America. Is that what it's going to take, guys? Spokesman of the Department of Transportation confirmed that an inspector from the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration had been sent to the scene to determine what caused the failure. The Environmental Protection Agency is the federal on-scene coordinator for the spill. Said some environmentalists argue that oil sands crudes are more corrosive than conventional oil, although a SEPA report put together by Oil and Gas, that's good, make your own report up. BP's already went in and changed Wikipedia up on the Gulf oil spill. About 40% of it, they rewrote it in favor of themselves. It says, now the EPA is saying, and Exxon is saying, which is that's a good pair to trust, that no oil has reached nearby Lake Conway, known as a fishing lake stocked with bass, catfish, brim, and crappie. Company has said it's deployed 3,600 feet of boom near the lake as a precaution, guys. It's a heads up on this. We're going to keep an eye on it. Be safe.